On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Right now, the mainstream media and all these other pundits and everybody under the sun are spinning their wheels like crazy, talking about the polls, talking about how poorly Trump's doing. We're getting into double-digit differences with polling. Talking about how all these horrible things are happening, how Orange Man's bad, everything he does is bad. And what's kind of funny is Trump's kind of not really stepped up to the plate on this. And if you think about it, I don't think because Trump's like, oh no, nobody likes me. I think it's because Trump's like, hey, I don't care. I'm going to take care of business while all you guys are squabbling about silly stuff. So again, as all the news cycles I've been watching today and even yesterday, all the news cycles around coronavirus, around the protests and violence and the cops, and then around how Trump's poll numbers are so horrible and everything else, right? And then Trump comes out today in the Rose Garden, oddly with two cool Ford trucks in it, which look really neat. But he comes out today and he starts talking about how he is going to have this big announcement about the FBI, about AG Barr, all this stuff. Big announcements coming on Monday. And that's it, right? And then he talks about it. They plug it. They get everybody ready. All the press is there. And then they hop on. And immediately Trump gives this one-liner basically and says, yeah, so we're going to talk about this on Monday, big announcement. And so what he ends up doing is he lists off a whole bunch of people that he's got a meeting with, mostly tomorrow it seems. And these people, nearly 200 corporate executives, are going to be meeting, and they're talking about kind of reopening the economy. So how this played out, this is kind of interesting, is this whole great American economic revival. And he's bringing in all these industry groups, seriously, from agriculture. Look at all Cisco, Tyson, all these different major players. And we've got banking represented, whole bunch of people, major names, all these major companies, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Citicorp. Construction and labor workforce, International Union of Operating Engineers, Laborers, International Union of North America. We've got Bechtel, Fluor, I should say. We've got a whole bunch. Defense, Lockheed Martin, Honeywell, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and General Dynamics. We've got energy in there, financial services in there, food and beverages in there. We've got healthcare, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, retail, tech, telecommunications, transportation, and sports and thought leaders groups. Not sure what the heck that is. But when they say he's not someone who unites, here's 200 major players in this country that he's pulling together to talk about how they're going to probably reopen the economy, how they're going to get things going again, and probably some other interesting discussions are bound to be had. Again, this is all coming up. I think Friday they're planning on having a lot of these meetings, he said. So we'll see how that plays out. So that's extremely interesting. Another thing that's been kind of talked up today, and it's someone that's getting some news cycles, and again, kind of interesting because I'm hearing things on both sides, but Fauci keeps talking about how we're not there yet, we're blah, 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 we shouldn't open the economy, stop, hold, holding. He's trying to get everything to stop. He's out there with the stop sign, with the flashing red light and everything, saying the bridge is closed ahead, like the whole 9 yards. And there's a lot of people that are like, I'm sorry. I mean, Texas, they said no matter what, we're not closing the state down again. So there's a lot of people talking about how all this is going on. They want Trump to make some sort of national decision, which is something they've been pushing from day one. Because what they want to do, and this is how they always play it, they try to push him to do something. And then if he does that, they're ready to just lambaste him with all sorts of different, you're racial, you're a dictator, you're this, you're that. And he's really good about not doing that. The guy's got it figured out. It's in fact quite impressive how he's at least apparently got good people around him, as well as being an intelligent fella himself. He's got a lot going on that is keeping him out of these hot waters that they keep trying to push him in. So again, there's been some discussions that maybe Fauci's not going to be around a lot longer. I don't know. But Birx and Fauci have a lot of power, or at least seem to think so, and they're definitely deep state players. And again, some weird things have been said and then not said and changed. And I mean, it's just, there's a long, long line of crazy that's been going on down that path. So again, big announcement coming Monday. Tomorrow, meeting with a huge number of people, and we'll just see what keeps happening about the COVID stuff. They're going to ramp it up. Again, it's all about the election coming up in November. So just be weary, be ready, be prepared. Get your supplies early, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Because seriously, probably in 2 weeks, maybe less, This is going to all of a sudden, some new scary thing is going to pop up. So just be prepared. It's coming. So whatever it is, not sure what it is, but it will be on its way. So another thing that's kind of interesting along the whole lines of everything, police groups that endorsed Obama twice backs Trump. So these guys backed Obama twice. Now they're backing Trump. This 241,000 member announced. This is typically kind of a Democratic side of things, right? But now, since nobody likes police in these cities, there's a lot of police departments that realize that Trump is trying to keep the idea of having security and enforcement and laws and rules and people that obey and live in a kind of a society where we can kind of all live together, where we can have nice things in stores that we can go visit, or parks that we can go enjoy, or buildings that we're allowed to be in without fear of violence. So Trump is making, again, great strides towards trying to fix that. And again, getting some support. He's been doing a lot of stuff quietly, again, behind the scenes. Well, he's been doing stuff with China, trying to get different trade things, trying to get a lot of talks. A lot of stuff's going on with China right now, and Russia too is very interesting. So a lot going on there. I'm sure that's keeping him busy. Talking about pulling back regulations. He just made a comment about that. For every one regulation they've created, they've removed 7. For every one they made, they removed 7. That's pretty awesome. This guy is doing stuff while everyone else is saying, you suck, you suck. Oh, this is why you suck. Let me count all the ways you suck. And meanwhile, Trump's just signing bills, making stuff happen, getting leaders together, doing stuff. Not walking around squabbling and not doing anything. What are the Democrats doing? They're putting stupid bills together that really have no chance, that really help out their buddies. And as we're going to find out, apparently, Gavin Newsom anyway, is doing a couple interesting things, or at least is getting a lot of attention. Now, I don't know if you guys remember way back in the day, or many times, Q has talked about watching what happens with California. Well, guess what? There's a lot going on with California right now. Governor Newsom is getting some attention about the 8,000 prisoners as part of a nationwide destabilization scheme that has been run by the Democrats. So now again, this is natural news. This guy, again, and we're going to find out here shortly, tends to spin things in a very interesting way. But whatever the case is, 8,000. He's releasing a lot of prisoners. This is getting a lot of attention. Another thing that got major attention, and I had to dig like a mother to figure out where this story came from and why. Because there's some weird dots that get connected, and it's a strange line, and I'm going to share it with you. But Gavin Newsom's now caught wiring $500 million to communist China in a massive face mask money laundering scheme. Now, the title itself, everything up to here, is pretty much true and verified, and I've got it. Whether it's money laundering, that's a stretch. I don't know. And that's where a lot of things get kind of spun in a very interesting direction. I don't see where all the proof is. So again, I'm going to share with you a lot of the conjecture. And I'm going to tell you that I think it's conjecture. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's true or false. There's definitely some circumstantial evidence that might imply that it's correct, but without a doubt, they're making some leaps in faith. So it's hard to say. But natural news, once again, Mike Myers or whatever his name, Mike Adams, he's done some cool stuff. Got that video site. He's a good guy. I mean, I like him. Don't get me wrong. He does some very, very cool stories, but he also can sometimes jump really hard into the conspiracy waters that I love swimming in, don't get me wrong. But we got new intel that communist China is providing automatic weapons to Antifa, Black Lives Matter, yada, yada. Okay, big step there as to whether or not these guns, there's proof of the guns, but whether or not these guns are specifically for these people, kind of a stretch, not sure. I don't know, conjecture. That's absolute conjecture. Some stored in Democratic-run government buildings include East End Complex Capitol Building in Sacramento, Block 174. Absolutely conjecture. Absolutely conjecture. Yes, that building exists. I didn't see a whole lot of evidence that has anything to say that this is actually having guns stored in it by Gavin Newsom. So, again, conjecture. This was a tough road to follow, but yeah, we've got people that they're supplying ammunition. We've got proof on this coming right up. And then they try to connect how Newsom's involved with this $1 trillion scheme. We've got some stuff. This part, a little conjecture. Now, this led into this story. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol site, so this is the government, 10,800 assault weapons parts were seized by CBP in Louisville. This is a whole bunch of guns, apparently. that are Chinese guns. These are Chinese parts of guns, apparently parts of the weapon. So they found all these weapon parts that were being smuggled in. Now this was, I thought, was down in Florida. Maybe this isn't the story, but whatever the case was, we've got an interesting thing where these weapons were found here in Louisville, okay, weapon parts. Then there's this other story that was referenced in there. Again, these stories were referenced within each other, right? That's how this chain happened. I had to follow links within links within links. So I'm still trying to get to the proof of what actually is going on, but this is all interesting stuff. California is apparently seeking a loan from China. Not sure if this is totally true. This is Agenda 21 radio news, so probably conspiracy stuff, which again, I love swimming in those waters. But they're claiming here that Washington, D.C. sources, which I love, sources, it's what the Democrats are famous for, in Washington, D.C., speaking under condition of anonymity, right? So instantly never believe anything that's said that way, right? So here, bogus story. It had a link in it, and that is why I ended up here. But apparently Gavin Newsom's looking for some money from China. I don't know, we'll see. So then that led to this from the westernjournal.com. Betrayal, California governor helps Chinese get $1 billion in COVID aid. So, okay, now we're starting to get into some nuts and bolts. So these guys are saying that he's going to be giving money to China to buy masks and stuff, because you certainly wouldn't want American-made masks, right? Why would you spend American dollars to get American masks? And then down here, wow, consider the fact that conservatives, Newsmax, and liberal Los Angeles Times both hit him for what he did. Finally found the freaking story. So Newsmax, California Governor Newsom's Chinese face mask deal questioned. They go after him. This is the liberal side going after him, the left. And then they even reference the Los Angeles Times. But apparently, the state has already spent $495 million. 495 of its precious dollars. 495 million of its precious dollars. And this is to get face masks, N95 face masks, and apparently some surgical masks. And they want to be able to get them every month, and they're going to get 5 million, whatever, and it's going to beat what 3M was capable of doing. Which, again, wow, that's kind of interesting that we're actually going after an American company, making American products with American dollars, yet you want to spend this money in China. So again, China, oddly, he went to a automaker in China. This starts to get a little thicker here. And apparently he wants to spend almost $1 billion taxpayer funds to buy protective masks from China, from BYD, which is a car manufacturer apparently. Chinese electric car manufacturer, oddly, as well. Electric car. You don't think he's been making deals because they're trying to make California the leader of how to be green and live green, and you have to buy electric cars, and well, when the Chinese come and take over, it won't matter anyway. But again, Newsom's getting called out in a very big way about doing some kind of pretty suspicious activities, certainly spending hard-earned taxpayer money in bad places, and in a state that's already in a very huge deficit right now. And this guy's bragging about his rainy day fund. He's I've got $21 billion in my rainy day fund. I can spend it on what I want. Whatever. Maybe that's not quite how he did it, but he is kind of weaselly the way he is. His smiles. He's so perfect looking. It's bothersome. I don't like that. I like flaws. I have many. It's awesome. Now, speaking of flaws, did you know that Twitter had a little bit of a flaw? And, in digging through all this, a lot of interesting things happen. First, there's a breach in security. That's what we're going to call it. But as it's been found through the day and through a number of other people, we have come to find that it looks like someone from the inside, either A, offered tools and access to someone on the outside, someone malicious, or B, that someone on the inside literally did this all themselves. But essentially what they did is they took over some very, very famous people's accounts. Biden, Obama, Bezos, Bill Gates. All these people's Twitter's accounts were taken over, where literally the owners were locked out of their own accounts. And these people posted a Bitcoin thing, where it was like, you've got 30 minutes to make, you give me $1,000, I'll give you $2,000. Which, again, anyone that fell for this, which there were many, but anyone who fell for this actually wasn't very smart, obviously. It's like a Darwinian award. Just, here you go. Here's your Darwin award. And you're like, no, I want my $1,000 back. And it's like, no, you're an idiot. So here's your Darwin award. And that's all you get because you're an idiot. So next time someone says, hey, give me $1 and I'll give you $2, you might think twice about it. Just saying. But what ended up happening is, one, it took Twitter hours, few hours, 2, 3, 4 hours to get this under control. Two, They literally blocked every checked account, every blue check and green check. I guess there's a difference. I don't get on Twitter enough. But every checked account was blocked from sending out tweets. So Twitter's gone in and done all this, locked everything down, and then finally was able to wrestle control back from the evil, wicked people. But it brought up a number of concerning things. One, how easy it is for Twitter to do this. Two, they've got this tool that there's a lot of screenshots that went around, and anyone that posted it on Twitter was instantly banned. Instantly banned if you showed a picture of this tool. So they were trying to hide this from the public, but fact is that's come out. A lot of the shadow banning information was apparently seen. They dug in. There's some screenshots. I'll see if I can dig into it and get a little more information maybe on tomorrow's show. But a lot went through this. The other side is they realized, wow, it is that easy for someone to potentially hack in or get into Twitter or get access to Twitter by bribing an employee. It's that easy to get in. And literally, you could do tweets pretending you're Obama and saying, everybody should go out on the streets and riot. And people would. And when you think about the fear and scariness of the fact that they could literally, through taking over a very powerful person's account, maybe even Donald Trump, and tweet on their behalf in a way that's not okay, that could cause a lot of problems, especially if they did it with someone like Trump's account, right? Think about how much pain and problems they could attempt to cause. So we're hearing about it today. You know the White House is involved. Again, another thing that's happening behind the scenes that no one seems to think about or talk about. But hey, if you're watching the mainstream media, dude, he's down in the polls, man. You got to watch out. He's really, really, really bad, and he's trying to take over, and he's got no plan for how to open up the economy from a national level. And Trump's just blowing it on every level, if you're watching the mainstream media. But if you're actually looking in a lot of the other alternative sources, all the sources that you might be fond of and like myself, not just me, but similar to myself, you like similar sources. And what we're finding is that he's actually doing a lot of stuff. And the election is still, over 100 days away. A lot will happen. And really what's going on right now will literally be forgotten about in about 2 weeks anyway, because Americans have a short attention span. Everybody knows it. The media's got to keep these cycles going just to keep people mad and out in the streets and the whole 9 yards. But the reality is starting Monday, Trump's coming out with something major, and you know it has to do with those 4 major cities that are rioting, Atlanta and Portland and wherever the other 2 are, right? We got all these craziness going on. So that's going to be quashed for sure. And we've also got all these businesses that are talked to, and we've got a lot of regulations that are being removed and making it easier for Americans to make money again, to be able to purchase automobiles cheaper. A lot of things are happening behind the scenes, and trust me, once those bubble to the surface, Trump's poll numbers will just naturally improve. And again, things are moving in a direction. It's the game plan. You got to kind of let it play out. You can't listen to what mainstream media is constantly talking about. We already know they lie about everything. Just keep that in mind. Remember, where we go one, we go all. And also, remember, when we're divided, we're weak. But when we're united, when we are United States of America, when we are united people amongst each other, we are beyond strong. We are very powerful. Remember that, because we're here to help, we're here to protect, and we're here to serve. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.